Hello, my name is David Fanley, and I'm here to introduce you to my YouTube channel, David's Modification Station. This channel is dedicated to the improvement in classroom instruction through the modification not only of materials, but the way in which those materials are presented. This is Chapter 1, the Introduction. Modification in education has earned a bad reputation as watering down the curriculum, but overall, think of modification as a change. For example, people modify their cars, they modify policies and procedures, and they modify their life practices, all for the purpose of making these things better. If we can approach modifying what we teach and the way we teach it with this mindset, outcomes are likely to improve for all learners. As an example of modifications, let's think about Cliff Notes. You probably remember them as you struggled through a college English class with a particularly uninteresting or challenging literary work. Maybe you had to write a paper or study for a test on the content. Was that cheating? Not if a simpler text helped you to get the bigger ideas. Today we have websites like SparkNotes, and AI is all around us when we log on to our computers. I tackled modification of materials very early in my career. When I was a first-year high school teacher, general education teachers were allowed to refuse to take my students in their classrooms. Not only for subjects like language arts or math, but even shop or home ec. What was my solution? I taught all of those things, including Romeo and Juliet and Julius Caesar. How did I do it if those works of Shakespeare were at an impossibly difficult level for my students to comprehend? I rewrote those plays line for line at a reading level that was comfortable for my students. Yes, it was a lot of work, but my students really understood the works of Shakespeare. They deserved access to the same materials that the other high school students were using. Let me give you another real example. About 20 years ago, I was hired to serve as an adjunct faculty member at a local college. I was charged with teaching senior college level student teachers how to teach content material. Not having been given a roadmap for the class, I asked a few teachers who graduated from that program what they would have liked to have known before they started teaching, and the list of needs grew and grew. Yes, I did teach about teaching math and science and social studies and language arts, but they also needed to know how to manage behavior, how to adjust instruction for learning differences within a classroom, how to deal effectively with parents, and how to handle the paperwork that goes with being a special education teacher. The result was that these students graduated with a lot more insight into what they would be doing day after day, and they were much better teachers, likely not to throw up their hands and quit after a few years. Let's zoom in. UDL, the Universal Design for Learning, is the cornerstone of the work that we will do in these lessons. Three key concepts that will be included in these lessons are designing multiple means of engagement, designing multiple means of representation, and designing multiple means of action and expression. Wow, that's a mouthful. The actual steps are chock full of fancy vocabulary, but for our purposes, we will break the work down into simpler tasks. Activating, accessing, and responding. Okay, let's come back. First, how do we activate the students' thought processes to help them better engage in learning? Second, how do we provide materials or media that will help them access the materials that they need to know? And third, how do we allow them to respond to the materials in a way that meets the needs of the course while demonstrating that they comprehend the materials or concepts? Through the coming weeks, I'll be focusing first on the mindset that is needed by you, the teacher or paraprofessional, to approach modifying what you teach, and more important, how you teach it. The project started out as research for me, and as you know, good research actually causes the learner to ask even more questions. I hope you will continue on this journey with me. Think about what I discuss, ask questions, and build an understanding that helps you to help your students. 13 individual units of instruction follow this introduction, with the option to add more information based on your concerns and interests. On the screen, you will see a snapshot of the subjects covered. Let's zoom in. Feel free to view each one or pick a particular lesson which you feel might be of interest to you. Here is my email so that you can contact me with questions, insights, or suggestions as we progress through these lessons.